Have you ever noticed how easy it is to live the exact same life as everyone around you? Not because you want to, just because it's familiar. You grow up seeing the same routines, the same limits, the same expectations. People work the same jobs, deal with the same problems, complain about the same things. And after a while, it starts to feel normal. Almost like that's just how life is supposed to be. But every once in a while, someone stops and thinks, why does it have to stay this way? Every cycle in life continues until someone decides it ends with them. Maybe in your family, the cycle is financial struggle. Working hard every month just to barely stay afloat. Bills always close behind. Dreams always postponed for someday. Maybe the cycle is comfort. Doing the minimum. Avoiding risks. Choosing the safe path every time because no one around you ever tried anything different. Or maybe the cycle is even simpler. People talking about big plans but never acting on them. At some point, someone has to decide that pattern stops. Why not you? I know that sounds like a big responsibility, but if you really think about it, every family, every community, every generation eventually has that one person, the one who thinks a little differently, who refuses to accept that the current situation is permanent. And the interesting thing is, those people rarely start with some huge advantage. They just start with a decision that the story doesn't have to repeat itself forever. Breaking a cycle usually doesn't look dramatic at the beginning. It's not some huge heroic moment. Most of the time it starts quietly. You decide to take your goals more seriously than the people around you. You choose discipline when the environment around you prefers comfort. You focus on building something while others are busy maintaining the same routine. You notice that your priorities start shifting. The things that once seemed normal don't feel the same anymore. Late nights with no direction, hours disappearing on distractions, conversations that go nowhere. When you start thinking about long-term growth, those habits lose their appeal. Not because you suddenly think you're better than anyone else, but because you realize your path has to be different if the outcome is going to be different, and that demands sacrifice. Breaking a cycle means stepping away from what people expect. Sometimes it means being the one who studies longer, the one who works harder, the one who keeps pushing even when others say, relax, you're doing too much. But from your perspective, it's not too much. It's necessary. If the goal is to change your situation, not just temporarily, but permanently, then someone has to take that responsibility seriously. Someone has to build something new. Think about it like this. If every generation repeats the same choices, they will also repeat the same results. But when one person raises the standard, financially, mentally, physically, emotionally, it changes what the next generation sees as possible. Suddenly, the ceiling moves higher. Kids grow up seeing discipline instead of excuses, opportunity instead of limitation. And that shift can start with a single decision. Your decision not to accept average as the final destination, not to assume the same problems must continue forever, but to believe that progress is possible and then work for it consistently. Of course, that path isn't always comfortable. Sometimes you'll feel like you're moving against the current, like your focus doesn't match the energy around you. But that's part of the process. Breaking cycles means creating a new direction, and new directions always feel unfamiliar at first. Still, if you stay committed long enough, something interesting happens. What once felt unusual becomes normal for you. Discipline becomes routine. Effort becomes standard. Growth becomes expected. And eventually the results begin to reflect that change. Better opportunities appear, new doors open, and the life you're building starts looking very different from the one that once felt unavoidable. That's the power of breaking a cycle. It's not just about personal success. It's about changing the trajectory of what comes after you. So if you've ever felt that quiet voice telling you there's more ahead, listen to it. That voice might be the beginning of something bigger, because every cycle continues until someone decides it stops. And sometimes the person meant to stop it is you.